I found I really love cooking. It come from an early stage with my extended family. Moved from the country up to Brisbane, and I was quite hungry, so I thought I'd get a job in a restaurant to get fed. And I began in a French restaurant in Brisbane, and from there moved overseas to London, to Switzerland, to New York, and that's where it really blossomed, and that's where I learnt the subtlety of cooking and scaling it back to bring out the true flavours. I've always had in the back of my mind how to bring restaurant quality food but to the masses without taking shortcuts. And so we came up with the Cloudy Bay Fish Co, where we're bringing seafood straight from the market, straight from the fishermen, and presenting it simply without complication to the customer at a great price. So it's a restaurant kitchen producing a food court style food. So we have to be conservative to a degree, but also very good at what we do. We're right in the heart of Sydney, under the Centrepoint Tower. Sous vide's a great method of cooking seafood in that, especially when you're using lean seafood like kingfish or albacore tuna, which is our white tuna, it prevents it from drying out. When you pan sear or grill, it dries out the outside before you cook the centre. Sous vide keeps it at a certain temperature, it's soft, and it keeps all the aromas. And you develop the true taste of that particular seafood dish. We use it predominantly for our white tuna that we bring from Mooloolaba, and we use it for our kingfish, and we poach it again with verjus. It's a fermented grape juice and just brings out a true flavour of the kingfish. Kingfish can have slight weediness in flavour, and the verjus gets rid of that flavour. We keep it very simple, and it's a way we can control a vast amount of seafood very quickly. And every time the customer has it, they remark how they've never tasted this seafood this way before. Anyone can make it at home, it's that simple. My experience with sous vide has always been with beef or poultry, and the reason we use sous vide in that style is because we can control the doneness, so we can cook it to rare and it's consistent all the way through. On a grill, it's harder to control the temperature at the finished product. So that's why we use sous vide first, and then we just sear it on the outside and present it, and it'll deliver it every time. We've adapted that process with seafood, and especially a white tuna, which is similar in texture to a nice piece of meat. I've got our albacore tuna. It's our white tuna. We catch this in Mooloolaba in Queensland. So I'm just going to trim up the albacore. I'm just taking the skin off, and then you have a bloodline. I'm just going to trim it out. There's no fat in albacore tuna, so you have to be gentle the way we cook it. So we've trimmed out the bloodline, and now we just cut it to the size of your sous vide bag. I'll cut it in half, fold it, and now we're going to season it. We use a Murray River salt flake. It's very good for seafood. And then a caster sugar to sprinkle over. And the sugar just develops the natural flavour of the albacore, and it makes it a little more palatable. Now to that, I'm going to add oregano. It just works well with albacore tuna. And a bay leaf. And then I'm going to seal the bag. Place it in, just close the lid, a little pressure. What we're doing now is we're going to poach it all the way through and keep its natural flavours. If I use any harsher heat, it dries it out, and that's what I don't want. So we place it in there, and that'll be for about an hour. Another Cloudy Bay favourite of our customers is our kingfish. We have a bone line down here. We're just going to cut that out because that'll break the bag. So we just cut it in half like that, cut the other section off, and then I'm just trimming it for the bag again. So I'll just quickly season it. Salt, pepper. I give a little verjus. The verjus is a fermented grape juice that'll just lift the flavour of the kingfish when it's cooked. And the kingfish will go in for about 45 minutes. The timer has just gone off. I set it for an hour and a half to cook the albacore. We take the lid off. The lid also works perfectly as a drip tray. And here we have it. You can see all the natural juices that come out. See how it already flakes. Beautifully cooked, moist, succulent, and great flavour. And now the kingfish is ready. It's our last dish. It's been at 42, but it's been for about 50 minutes. And it'll be cooked through, but still very moist. And that's it. And I've just put on a coleslaw. Just the aroma is so much different than just grilling. It's beautiful.